Did the Black Death wipe out half of Europe? Welcome back to Timeframe, where we delve into the most intriguing moments in history. Today we're exploring one of the darkest chapters in human history, the Black Death. This devastating pandemic swept through Europe in the 14th century, and the question on many minds is, did it really wipe out half of Europe? The Black Death, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, arrived in Europe in the year 1347. It spread rapidly, carried by fleas that infested rats, which were common on merchant ships. The disease took various forms, the most notorious being the bubonic plague, characterized by swollen lymph nodes, fever, and painful skin lesions. It was a horrific sight that caused unimaginable suffering. As the plague swept through towns and cities, fear gripped the population. Entire communities were decimated in a matter of weeks. Historians estimate that the death toll ranged from 25 to 30 million people across Europe. But that figure often leads to the assumption that the population was halved. Was this an accurate assessment, or merely a grim exaggeration? To understand the impact of the Black Death, we must consider the population of Europe before the plague struck. Estimates suggest that Europe was home to around 70 to 100 million people in the early 14th century. By the time the epidemic receded, it's believed that between 30 and 60% of the population had perished. This brings us to the heart of the question: did the Black Death truly wipe out half of Europe? The answer is complex. While many regions experienced staggering losses, the extent of mortality varied widely. In some areas, especially densely populated urban centers, the death toll was indeed catastrophic. Cities like Florence and Paris saw staggering declines in their populations. In contrast, rural areas where populations were smaller and more spread out experienced less severe losses. Another crucial factor is the method of measuring these losses. Historical records from the time are sparse, and many documents were lost or destroyed. This lack of reliable data makes it challenging to provide a definitive answer to the population decline caused by the Black Death. Additionally, the aftermath of the plague was transformative. Labor shortages led to changes in the workforce and improved wages for peasants, gradually shifting the social structure of Europe. Some historians argue that the Black Death, while devastating, ultimately paved the way for the Renaissance, as the societal upheaval forced a re-evaluation of norms and practices. In the years following the plague, Europe slowly began to recover. Populations rebounded, but the scars left by the Black Death remained. Families were torn apart, and the collective trauma shaped the cultural and social fabric of the time. So, did the Black Death wipe out half of Europe? While estimates suggest significant population losses, the reality is that the effects were not uniform across the continent. The true impact of the Black Death was not just in numbers, but in the profound changes it wrought on society. As we reflect on this dark period, it's essential to remember the resilience of humanity. The Black Death, while a tragedy, also led to significant transformations that shaped the course of European history. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Black Death and its impact on Europe. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Timeframe for more engaging historical content. Until next time, keep exploring the past.